Imagine for a moment a golden era where efficiency didn't mean sacrificing quality, resistance, or superior flavor. In the misty British countryside, an extraordinary poultry lineage was forged that sustained entire nations during the darkest periods of world history, offering unprecedented abundance in both meat and eggs. Today, the modern poultry industry has conditioned us to believe that we must choose between fragile laying birds or meat birds with severe health problems that can barely support their own body weight. But this false dichotomy hides a massive truth that large commercial producers don't want you to discover. There is an undisputed monarch in the poultry world that defies all modern logic, a true titan of the dual-purpose realm that has been unfairly relegated to the shadows. Based on the sharp observation of our community, today we unlock the genetic and productive secrets of this majestic breed. Get ready to discover exactly why the Sussex is the ultimate choice for any sustainable farm, completely redefining absolute profitability and giving the experienced farmer a true competitive edge in the agricultural field today. Let's begin. To truly understand why the Sussex breed stands as the fundamental pillar of modern self-sufficiency, we must first critically analyze the current landscape of commercial poultry genetics. Over the past few decades, the industry has opted for a radical bifurcation, creating highly fragmented and specialized genetic lines. On one hand, we have the giants of accelerated growth, broilers that can reach a staggering 6.6 pounds in just 6 weeks, but whose cardiovascular systems frequently collapse under their own unnatural mass. On the other hand, we find the laying machines, hybrids engineered to pump out over 300 eggs in their first year, at the severe cost of deteriorating their internal organs in record time. This extreme specialization works within highly controlled environments, with diets formulated down to the milligram, but it proves to be a financial trap for the independent producer. This is where the Sussex breed emerges not as a relic of the past, but as the most refined biological technology for true agricultural resilience. The anatomy of the Sussex reveals a masterpiece of genetic selection oriented toward functional balance. When we observe its phenotypic structure, we immediately notice a wide, deep, and rectangular body, undeniable characteristics of a superlative capacity for muscular development and energy storage. A mature Sussex rooster in peak condition can easily surpass 8.8 pounds of live weight, while the hens maintain a robust average of 6.6 pounds. Unlike industrial hybrids that accumulate fat disproportionately, the development of the Sussex is physiologically harmonious. Their firm textured meat presents an intramuscular fat distribution that grants it an unparalleled flavor profile, vastly superior to the bland, watery product found in modern supermarkets. Furthermore, their soft, white skin responds perfectly to the highest culinary demands, facilitating clean processing and impeccable presentation in the local market. The core of their productive profitability lies in their astonishing capacity for genuine dual-purpose performance. The Sussex hen doesn't just limit herself to being an excellent meat producer. She is a formidable layer of large-sized eggs, with shells ranging from soft cream to light brown. A well-maintained genetic line can comfortably produce up to 280 eggs during its first year of lay. While this number might seem slightly inferior to that of a hyper-specialized hybrid, the analysis changes completely when we extend the time frame. Commercial hybrids suffer a severe productive collapse after 18 months, demanding constant, expensive replacement. The Sussex hen, however, possesses exceptional biological longevity. Her production curve descends gradually, allowing a dedicated breeder to maintain a profitable reproductive core for several years. This durability drastically reduces replacement expenses and guarantees a sustainable long-term income stream that shields the farm from market volatility. Nutritional management and environmental adaptation are areas where the Sussex literally crushes its modern competitors. Industrial birds lack basic survival instincts and depend exclusively on feeders packed with heavily processed grain. The Sussex retains a highly efficient foraging instinct. When released into a rotational grazing system or on an open homestead, these birds spend a massive portion of their day hunting insects, consuming tender shoots, and scratching the earth in search of essential minerals. This nutritional autonomy has a massive impact on the farm's economy. A flock of Sussex on pasture can reduce their dependence on concentrated commercial feed by up to 30%. This efficient conversion of natural resources into high biological value protein is the holy grail of true self-sufficiency. In addition to their feed efficiency, we must highlight their remarkable immunological and thermal resistance. Originating from a region with damp and highly variable climates, Sussex birds developed a dense plumage that acts as superior thermal insulation. While other breeds suffer enormously as temperatures drop, shutting down their laying cycles as soon as the thermometer hits 32 degrees Fahrenheit, the Sussex continues producing eggs with admirable consistency throughout the harsh winter months. This natural resistance minimizes the risk of pathological outbreaks that typically decimate the immunologically suppressed birds housed in commercial barns. Their intrinsic vigor, stabilized after decades of selective breeding, makes them significantly less susceptible to respiratory diseases and external parasites. For the breeder focused on continuous genetic improvement and true food sovereignty, the ability to reproduce your own flock is absolutely non-negotiable. Here lies the final trap of the modern industry. Commercial hybrids don't transmit their traits to their offspring. If you cross two industrial layers, you'll experience extreme phenotypic segregation, yielding chicks with wildly irregular growth rates and incredibly poor productivity. The Sussex, being a stabilized pure breed, guarantees the genetic fixation of its traits. By carefully selecting your best specimens, you can close the productive cycle entirely within your own farm. You'll obtain genetically superior offspring, completely eliminating your dependence on the commercial hatchery monopolies. This absolute control over the bloodline is the apex of sustainable, long-term profitability. The temperament of these majestic birds also plays a crucial role in the operational dynamics of the integrated farm. Unlike lighter breeds that tend to be erratic, nervous, and prone to flight-induced stress, the Sussex possesses a notably docile, calm, and easy-to-manage disposition. This emotional stability drastically reduces cortisol levels within the flock. Lower cortisol is directly linked to better assimilation of dietary nutrients and higher structural quality in both the eggshell and overall muscular development. Their docility enormously facilitates all routine daily maintenance tasks. Handling these birds is a seamless process. To truly maximize the genetic potential of this formidable breed in a rural setting, the design of the physical space must align with their imposing biometry. Given their considerable size and structural weight, the roosts inside the coop must be installed at a prudent height. We strongly recommend keeping roosts no higher than 3 feet from the ground to prevent severe impacts on their leg joints during their morning descents. Similarly, the nesting boxes must be significantly more spacious than those used for standard commercial layers. Providing a roomy and secure space prevents the accidental breakage of eggs under the hen's massive body volume. A deep litter of coarse wood shavings or dry straw is essential on the shelter floor. This not only cushions any accidental falls but also encourages their natural scratching behavior and properly manages the accumulation of environmental moisture, ensuring an optimal microclimate year-round. By structuring the technical narrative and the poultry system around the Sussex, we are directly betting on the preservation of biological wealth and the absolute empowerment of the producer. The retention of long-term genetic value is the true secret behind successful operations. We don't measure agricultural success simply by the volume accumulated in a single, isolated month, but by the unbreakable capacity to establish a truly autonomous agrarian environment, completely free from corporate fragility. The tactical and physiological superiority of this British breed empirically proves that achieving ultimate food independence absolutely doesn't require sacrificing maximum productive yield. It's the perfect genetic bridge between the glorious past of traditional husbandry and the sustainable future of the modern homestead. The successful integration of this line requires a deep understanding of their biological cycles and spatial needs. In the next phase of our analysis, we will dive deeply into the precise rotational grazing schemes, strict selection programs for breeding, and the ultimate optimization of the productive environment. The protocols we will cover next will secure your legacy. To ensure the absolute maximum profitability and the enduring genetic vigor of our Sussex flock over time, the meticulous selection of breeding specimens is a fundamental process that requires a highly trained eye and an absolute commitment to biological excellence. We can't simply choose at random. We must establish incredibly rigorous phenotypic evaluation criteria. When selecting the flock sire, we must look for a rooster that embodies the breed standard in its maximum expression. His chest must be exceptionally wide and deep, projecting forward with pride, which directly indicates massive lung volume and a superlative capacity for muscular development in his progeny. The keelbone must be perfectly straight and long, without any deviation or irregular ossification, since skeletal defects are highly heritable and severely compromise the overall value of the carcass. The legs, boasting a white or slightly pinkish tone, must be set well apart, denoting a wide and incredibly strong pelvic bone structure, entirely capable of supporting the imposing weight of a mature bird without the slightest effort. The vitality of the rooster is equally crucial. He must consistently display an active, alert, and fiercely protective behavior toward his flock, alongside a proven fertility rate verified through the periodic evaluation of the hatching success from his weekly mating activity. A seasoned producer understands that the rooster dictates half of the flock's future potential. Regarding the breeding hens that will form our maternal line, the selection process must perfectly balance physical conformation for meat production with incredibly consistent daily laying records. An elite Sussex hen chosen for our foundational core must present a broad and soft abdominal cavity, allowing a distance of at least 4 fingers between the pelvic bones and the keel during her peak production phase. This guarantees the necessary internal space for a highly efficient reproductive tract. We will strictly reject any female showing signs of early exhaustion, excessively sparse plumage, or prolonged pauses in her laying cycle during favorable weather months. It's imperative to maintain individual or family group records to accurately track real-world performance on the pasture. Those hens that maintain solid laying throughout their second year, consistently producing eggs with firm shells and uniform pigmentation, will become the mothers of our next superior generation. By intelligently crossing these elite specimens, we are permanently fixing the traits of resistance, longevity, and genuine dual-purpose performance, ultimately creating a localized family line adapted specifically to the microclimate and the particular conditions of our own farm. The artificial incubation process is the critical moment where our intense genetic selection physically begins to manifest. For Sussex eggs, which are typically voluminous and feature an incredibly dense shell, precision in the incubator's parameters is non-negotiable. We will maintain a constant temperature of 99.5 degrees Fahrenheit during the first 18 days. Relative humidity must range between 50 and 55% in this initial phase. This specific humidity level allows the proper weight loss of the egg so the air cell can expand correctly, facilitating the embryo's respiration just before hatching. Automatic turning, performed at least 4 times a day, will completely prevent the embryonic membranes from adhering to the dense eggshell. Starting on day 18, we will stop the turning process and increase the humidity to 65 or 70% to soften the shell and facilitate the final pipping process. Newly hatched Sussex chicks are notably vigorous and heavy, showing impressive vitality from their very first hours outside the protective shell, which clearly sparks a rapid adaptation to their new environment. During the early brooding phase, thermal and nutritional management will absolutely dictate the success of their long-term structural development. Because they are birds of constant growth and large skeletal frames, they require a highly robust nutritional start. We will provide a starter ration containing 22% crude protein during the first 6 weeks, guaranteeing the optimal development of their internal organs, feathers, and skeletal system. We will strictly avoid the excessive use of artificial growth accelerators. The physiological goal with the Sussex isn't the explosive and damaging speed seen in commercial hybrids, but rather a harmonious bone and muscle development that prevents any future metabolic issues. The temperature under the artificial brooder must begin at 91.4 degrees Fahrenheit during the first week, gradually dropping about 5 degrees every week until the birds are completely feathered and can easily tolerate the outside ambient temperature. Given their rustic genetics, these chicks acclimate swiftly and demonstrate an intense early desire to forage. Once the young birds have completed their feathering and can be safely moved to the pastures, we will implement an intensive rotational grazing system. This is exactly where the genetic foraging capacity of the Sussex truly shines and maximizes our return on investment. We will use mobile poultry tractors or portable electric fencing to move the flock to fresh pasture every 2 or 3 days constantly. This systematic movement fulfills a fundamental biological and agronomic dual purpose. First, it ensures the birds have continuous access to high-quality forage, fresh insects, and wild seeds, which drastically reduces our spending on commercial feed. Second, it brilliantly avoids the overexploitation of the green terrain and the dangerous accumulation of parasitic loads in the agricultural soil. The nitrogen-rich manure that the birds deposit is evenly distributed over the pasture, acting as a natural fertilizer of the highest quality that permanently triggers the accelerated regeneration of the local flora. Managing the Sussex flock during the bitter winter months clearly demonstrates the unquestionable superiority of their ancestral British genetics. While producers of commercial hybrids face catastrophic drops in production and high mortality rates from extreme cold, our flock will maintain an enviable stability. The dense, tightly fitted plumage of this breed provides extraordinary thermal insulation against freezing temperatures. However, to sustain egg production when the daylight hours shorten, we must strategically supplement the lighting in the coop, providing 14 hours of total daily light. Nutritionally, we will adjust the daily ration by slightly increasing the intake of complex carbohydrates and healthy fats, such as cracked whole corn or sunflower seeds, especially during the late afternoon hours. This additional energy unlocks the bird's ability to generate internal metabolic heat during the long, cold nights, keeping their body condition perfectly intact and ensuring a highly constant production rate even when the thermometer dips below freezing. The profitability analysis of the Sussex breed reveals a resilient economic model for the homestead. We generate multiple high-value income streams from the exact same flock. The eggs, boasting intensely colored yolks and dense whites thanks to the forage diet, can be sold at a premium price in markets that value artisanal quality over watery industrial products. Simultaneously, surplus males and older hens provide meat with a firmness and flavor that conscious consumers seek. This heritage meat, raised on open pastures and free of artificial growth promoters, possesses a moisture retention capacity during cooking that effortlessly justifies a superior profit margin. To scale this productive operation without compromising biological purity, the experienced farmer must apply a systematic approach to flock rotation. Keeping genetic families identified allows for rotational crossing, avoiding the detrimental effects of close inbreeding while preserving phenotypic traits in each generation. If we detect a sudden decrease in the hatch rate or a reduction in chick vitality, it will serve as the indicator to introduce fresh blood. We achieve this by acquiring an elite male from another reputable breeder who shares our demanding selection standards. Mastering these population breeding dynamics guarantees that our genetic line becomes a truly inexhaustible biological engine for our daily sustenance. The decision to integrate Sussex genetics into a farm focused on absolute food sovereignty transcends the simple choice of a traditional poultry breed. It represents a profound commitment to real biological efficiency and long-term economic resilience. By deliberately prioritizing immunological strength, superior foraging capacity, and incredibly stable genetic retention over completely artificial industrial metrics, the modern producer permanently breaks free from the endless cycle of corporate dependence. This phenomenal British bird demonstrates, conclusively, that true sustainable performance absolutely does not require sacrificing animal health or the ultimate nutritional quality of the final harvested product. You are investing in a living asset that constantly appreciates in value. Embracing this magnificent, dual-purpose breed ensures that your homestead remains fiercely independent, highly productive, and self-reliant, regardless of external market fluctuations. I want to hear your perspective on this management model. Have you worked with heritage lines on your pastures, or do you prefer specialized birds? Please share your valuable thoughts directly below. If this analysis was useful, please like and subscribe today. To your success, fellow breeder. Until next time.